So I'm Dr. Dianah Lake. For those of you who don't know me and just meeting me for the first time, some of the people on the webinar may already know me from multiple areas. So either from one of my social media groups that I run, or just from my website, or one of the social media platforms I'm on. I am on Facebook, um, Twitter, Instagram, and just recently now starting a YouTube channel as well. So I'm Dianah Lake. I'll tell you a little bit about me. I am an emergency medicine physician. That's me there. 8.5 months pregnant with my second son. And the picture on the right is me right before my figure competition last October. So I'm an emergency medicine physician and creator of Dr. Di Fit Life. I'm a fit coach and an associate with ID Life Nutrition and Supplements Company. I am also a figure competitor, as I mentioned before, mom to two boys, and I also I garden, I do West African dance, and I am a fit life junkie. Also, really, really, really into organic and holistic living. So that's kind of a quick synopsis of who I am and why I'm doing this talk. As I mentioned in the video, for the webinar, I got a lot of comments when I was on my recent trip to Trinidad about people that I met there asking me about nutrition and how do I stay fit, and what types of things do I do in my daily living to allow me to continue to commit to it, because being fit is not easy, right? So it's not easy, and you have to have a certain mindset. You have to have certain things that you're doing on a regular basis to continue to maintain that lifestyle. So this is what we're going to be covering. Is a lot. I will try to get through as much of it, since we've already lost about 7 or 8 minutes in the beginning here trying to figure out how to get this thing to go live. But I will do my best to cover as much of this as possible. So the first thing we're going to be talking about is just ways to create a fit lifestyle in the first place. So if that's not where you are now, we'll talk about ways to create a fit lifestyle. And then we're going to go into organic foods. We're going to talk about macros and micros. So just so you know, macros are the carbs, the proteins, and the fats in the foods that you eat. So they're the major food groups. And then micros are the nutrients that actually come from the macros. So your vitamins and your micronutrients that are coming from the foods when you actually absorb them, what you end up getting on a cellular level. So those would be the micros. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about superfoods that you should have in your diet on a weekly basis. We'll talk about vitamins. We'll talk about nutrients, mindset, on basically how to promote a positive body image, regardless of what your body looks like right now. You may have, thoughts of improving your fitness and your body and where you are right now, but you can still enjoy and appreciate who you are today while you're making that transition. So we'll talk about that, and then we'll also go into some of the nutrition products that ID Life, which is the nutrition company that I'm associated with, provides, and how it fits in to having a fit lifestyle. So we'll talk about that, and I will tell you guys about the Fit and Fabulous Nutrition Package that I have. And lastly, we'll just briefly mention a live boot camp that I have coming up on April 1st. And at the end, we'll talk about any questions you guys may have. We'll do like a quick Q&A period. Okay, so that's kind of the basic overview of how this is going to go. If you have any questions, you can post them in the chat, and I'll go back and forth, through the chat to see if anyone has questions, so we can answer them as we're going along. Okay. So that's that's sort of the format of how we're going to do this. Um, so the first thing is, your body, right? This is one body you have. So embracing it, loving it, respecting it, it's the most you can do for yourself, in being healthy. I'm a big proponent for healthy living and prevention and not waiting until you have a major chronic disease and then before you start to do something to take care of yourself. So embracing your body, loving it where you are now, and making it better is the most amazing thing you can really do for yourself. And I think this slide kind of really, really talks about that well. So the next thing that we're going to go into is just right into the topics. All right. So the first topic on our list that we mentioned was, how do you get or create a fit lifestyle? And why would you want to have a fit lifestyle? Even as the first question. So basically, when you're fit, you're more active, you're able to do more, your endurance is higher, your energy level is higher, you're more alert, you're able to respond to things quickly, and also just longevity wise, if you have a family that, grows into their 80s and 90s, if that's your family, background, you want to be able to enjoy those years, right? I mean, so you don't want to be 60 years old and on 20 different medications because you haven't really taken care of your body. So the whole thing is, when you start thinking about a fit lifestyle, you want to think long term. You want to think, why am I doing this? And you want to think beyond today, how what I'm doing today is going to help me, in the long run. So that's the way I look at it when I think about health and fitness. I don't think about just looking good, looking sexy, and all this stuff today. I think about, when I'm 60 years old, when I'm 70 years old, when I'm 80 years old, God willing that I'm, around to live that long, I want to be able to enjoy it. I want to be able to see my children grow, and I want to be able to see my grandchildren and all those things. So when you talk about fit lifestyle, you're talking about longevity. You're talking about, a lifestyle that's going to go for the rest of your life. Okay. So, that's what the 5 things you can do to make sure moving forward for the rest of your life that you're going to have that momentum to keep you going is, number one, you got to change your diet. Above and beyond everything else is the diet. If the diet is off, you can exercise all you want, you're really not going to see results because you can't outtrain a bad diet. I mean, I'm sure you've heard that. So the diet has to be cleaned out. Okay, by cleaning your diet, that means removing a lot of the toxins in your foods. So going organic is a great way to do that, because when you have organic foods, you have less, GMOs. So it's not genetically modified, chemicals in there. Um, you're not going to have pesticides and steroids and all these different things added to your foods. You're getting clean food grown in an organic setting with no added steroids or hormones or pesticides and all those different things. So eating clean basically means reducing your prepackaged foods, reducing your fast foods, reducing things that are toxic to your body, alcohol, any kind of, illicit drugs, cigars, tobacco, so really kind of keeping all of that, either eliminating it altogether or really, finding a way to quit, right? So being on the path of quitting. And those are all the things that basically will have to come out of your diet, and your lifestyle for you to truly maintain a fit lifestyle. The next thing is committing to cardio and strength training 3 to 5 days a week. Okay. This is a tough one for most people. And it is just because a lot of times people work out because they're working out toward, they're working out because the summer is coming and maybe they're taking a trip. or maybe somebody's getting married, so they try to lose weight for that. So a lot of times people will lose weight or exercise because they're trying to meet a certain goal, like something special is happening in their life, so they'll do it for that. But then once that comes and goes, then they go back to, kind of having the sedentary lifestyle. Um, so the way that you avoid that is to just kind of maintain on a regular basis a 3 to 5 day exercise routine. You could do a couple of days where you do cardio and strength training. You can really have a mixture of it. Depending on the type of body you have, if you're a slow metabolizer or a fast metabolizer, that will determine, whether you have to do more cardio versus more strength training. But regardless of your body type, you've got to add weights. Okay, you've got to lift weights. You've got to add weights into your exercise routine. Why? Because when you add weights to your routine, number one, you're increasing the calorie burn. So when you do exercises like aerobic exercises, when you do a spin class or you go running or you do anything that's aerobic, you're burning calories at that moment. But then when you stop, your calorie burn ends. But when you use weights, you have this continuous, for several hours after you're done weight training, you're still burning calories. And the other thing about weight training too is it gives you nice curves and it gives you, it gives you a shape to your body and you're not just kind of just skinny. So a lot of women think weightlifting will bulk you up and you look like a man. But the actuality of it is when you weight train as a woman, it really gives you curves. You'll see, you'll have some curves in the butt area. You'll have some tone to your thighs. You'll have a little tone, to your arms. And so everything becomes more shapely when you add weights to it. And then the next big one is sleep. So many people, I mean, majority of the American population is walking around, on very little sleep. So sleep is a big one. Without proper sleep and during sleep, you're having a whole lot of restoration going on as well. So when you're sleeping, your brain, your intestines, your liver, all of the major organs, your kidneys, everything is going through a regeneration and a, cleanse, like a self-cleansing process. So if you don't give yourself the 7 to 8 hours of sleep that you need, you're robbing your body of that self-cleaning oven sort of thing that it does. You're robbing yourself of that restoration that you're supposed to go through every day when at the end of putting all the stress on your body, stress on your mind, you need to have that period of rest so that everything sort of recalibrates. So sleep is huge. The next big thing is staying hydrated. Okay. Many of us are going around barely getting any water or hydration during the day. Now, there's a formula you can use to figure out how much fluids you need in the day, for an average person. Say an average person between 120 pounds, to 200 pounds. So basically you take your weight in pounds and you divide that by 16, and that will give you the total number of cups of water you should have per day. Okay. And then you take that number of cups and you multiply that by 8 ounces, and that'll give you the total number of ounces of fluids you need to have per day. So basically, you want to make sure that you're getting adequate hydration. And then the last one, this is a big one as well, is making sure you have a great support system. So by that, I mean having people that are holding you accountable for staying healthy. Having somebody you go to the gym with on a regular basis, or maybe you meet up with them there, or someone that you talk to about meal prepping and planning your meals, or what you're buying, that you're bringing into your home. Someone that's going to keep checking on you and just making sure that you're staying accountable. That's a big one. When people don't know that you're trying to be fit, you can have many excuses to not do it, and no one's going to know that you haven't done it. But when you have that accountability and you've made it known and you've made it public that you're committing to having a fit lifestyle, then people will keep asking you, so, hey, how is that going? How's the weight loss going? How's your workouts going? How's your meal prepping and all those things going? So when people know about it, then you're on the hook, and then you kind of have to, stick with it. And so those are the five big things, if you're going to, get this started, that you need to incorporate, in your lifestyle. So as we go down, we'll talk more particularly about the specific foods that you want to bring into your diet. Once you make that decision, I'm gonna start a healthy lifestyle. Then what? So I mentioned going organic. Now the benefits of going organic, are huge, 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 huge. The big ones are, when you go organic, the foods that you eat are natural foods. They're foods that you're supposed to be eating, and your body will respond more favorably to it. You'll have less bloating, you'll have less inflammation. A lot of times when you eat these foods that are prepackaged and filled with the GMOs and all of these artificial ingredients, it causes inflammation in the gut, and it also causes a lot of buildup of gas. So a lot of times people will get bloated, after they've had a heavy meal of something that was fried, or something, that maybe like some kind of a fast food, or something like that. Typically, you get that bloated feeling because that's all that gas that's being built up. So when you go with organic foods, you're eating less, consuming less hormones, you're consuming, less chemicals, less steroids, less antibiotics, and the livestock that produces, the meat and the eggs and all of the foods that you're getting organic. Those animals are raised in a natural habitat. So they're allowed to graze around normally and eat organic feeds. They're not being fed, genetically engineered foods. So the big thing to take away from this is, a lot of times, the foods that are created for packaging and mass production, will have, the animals that are being fed to produce those foods, like the cows that produce the beef, and the farmed fish that we're eating, and all of these things, the animals that are producing the milk, and the eggs. These animals are being fed genetically engineered foods. Okay, they're not getting fed the natural foods that this you have. So this is how typical, production of foods in our country is done. The animals get genetically fed foods, and then the genetically engineered foods, and then those foods will cause inflammation in the intestinal tract of the cows, or the chickens or the turkeys or whatever it is that they're raising, or even the fish, like in the farmed fish, where the fish is raised on the farm. um, they're introducing these foods to these animals. The animals eat them. They get inflammation in their intestinal tract, and then to combat the inflammation, what these manufacturers typically will do is give them steroids. So they introduce steroids to make them grow faster and to reduce the inflammation that's caused by these genetically engineered foods that they're feeding them. So when they give them the steroids will help with the inflammation, but then it makes their immune system weakened, so that they're more prone to get infections, and sometimes these livestock would die just from getting infections in these farmed environments. So to prevent infections, they'll actually pre-treat the fish, pre-treat the cows and chickens and all of these things with antibiotics to prevent them from getting infections. So when you don't go organic and you don't eat organic foods, whatever ends up on your plate, that chicken you're eating, the beef you're eating, the pork you're eating, the eggs, the milk you're drinking, all of these things have been pre-treated with hormones, with steroids, with antibiotics, with pesticides, with, fertilizers and all these different chemicals. So all of this stuff is being ingested by the animals. So when they get on your plate, you're eating them too, because it's inside the flesh and in the meat and in all in all the food. So when you get that on your plate, everything has been pre-treated with is also going to go into your body. So just kind of think about that, when you're at the supermarket buying your food. Do you want to go organic or do you want to go with the regular stuff? The regular stuff is going to have all of these things in it. The organic is not. The organic may be more expensive, but in the long run, it's just better for your health. And so those are the benefits of organic foods. So, when you talk about organic foods, then you also want to talk about superfoods. So superfoods meaning foods, when you hear the term superfood, usually they're talking about foods that have, strong, a high amount of antioxidants in it, or they're very potent with vitamins and minerals. They have very high nutritional value and things like that. So typically, when you think about superfoods, you think about kale and spinach and avocado and salmon and all these things. Those are kind of like the common ones people would talk about. But what we're going to do here, we're just going to give you a list of superfoods in each category. So this way, you have a decent, this way you have a decent, sort of repertoire when it comes to each category of foods. So also the way you prepare your foods is also important. In addition to just knowing what the superfoods are, how you prepare it is also important. What are you using to cook it with? What type of oils are you using? What type of herbs are you putting in? So it's one thing if you say, okay, I'm going to make an omelet, great. But then what are you putting in it? Are you putting spinach, mushrooms, tomatoes, peppers, onions, so when you're making your foods, you want to make sure that you're adding enough nutritional value so that every meal provides you with all of those micronutrients that we talked about earlier. So each meal you make, you want to make sure you're getting good fats. You want to make sure you're getting the appropriate amount of protein, and you want to make sure that the carbohydrates that you use are complex carbohydrates. Okay, so when we say complex carbohydrates, we're talking about starches that has to be broken down. And by the process of breaking it down and digesting it, you're actually burning calories. Okay, when you eat things like muffins or bagels or croissants or things that have already been, prepackaged, a lot of times those prepackaged materials are just refined. And so it goes straight to sugar. As soon as you eat it, it goes straight to sugar. If you don't work that off within a couple of hours, 2 to 4 hours, that energy you get from those prepackaged foods is just going to go straight to your hips. It's going to go to your hips. It's going to go to your belly. And basically that's where you're getting the belly fat from, is foods that are so refined that if you don't work them off right away, they literally will just turn to sugar and fat. Okay, so let's go into some of the superfoods. So superfoods, the best nutritional value you're going to get from your veggies and your fruits and your teas and your carbs and your meats we're going to talk about here. So these are the typical foods that you want to have in your diet. Okay. So for veggies, spinach, kale, romaine lettuce, arugula, cabbage, broccoli, all of these are foods that are very high in antioxidants. Okay, Brussels sprouts, cauliflower, asparagus, all of these are very high in antioxidants, which will reduce inflammation in the body, which will also, remove cellular damage. So the cellular damage basically happens when you have free radicals in the body. So these type of foods are potent in antioxidants that will remove free radicals from the body, reduce inflammation, allow you to actually absorb the nutrients that the foods actually, are meant to give you. So making sure that you're keeping these veggies, in your diet is going to help you basically have that self cleaning process going on. All right. And the good thing about veggies too is because of the chlorophyll in them, they don't get digested. They kind of just go through your system and sweep out your colon. So they sweep out the colon and it allows for better, movement of your bowels. Okay. By having a strong, by having more veggies in your diet. So it helps to sweep out the colon. So you want to make sure that you have that. Um, and then when it comes to fruits, the big thing with fruits is knowing what has a lot of sugar and what doesn't. Because fruits can be a big sugar haven. There could be a lot of hidden sugars in fruit. Even though people think fruit is healthy, which it is, but some of them can be very sugary. So basically, the big thing with the fruits is berries are your friend. Okay, any kind of berries. Berries are huge when it comes to fruits. They're low in sugar, so they have a low glycemic index, if you've heard that terminology before. So they don't cause a big spike in your blood glucose. Okay. And so berries are your friend. If you're making your smoothie, you want to make sure that you're using strawberries, blackberries, blueberries. I absolutely love, juju berries and acai berries. These are like your most potent berries with antioxidants. If you're looking for anything that's like a super, super food, then your acai berries is where you want to go. They have a lot of omega-3 acids in them and a bunch of other omega acids that would completely reduce your body of inflammation. And then, of course, you've got cranberries, which are great for just kidney health. Um, kiwi is another good one. Kiwi has more potassium than bananas. Kiwi has more vitamin C than oranges. Is a potent fruit. So I do kiwi. Kiwi is in my basket every week. Um, and so that's one fruit that you want to have. Avocados is another one. So avocados got again a lot of omega-3 acids. Which also will naturally help to boost your metabolism. So you want to use things that would naturally boost your metabolism, so that you know you're helping to keep healthy by eating the right foods. Um, Green tea. Green tea is a major natural metabolism booster. So, green tea, white tea, turmeric tea, all of these different teas are great to have in your diet. I do 2 or 3 cups of green tea a day. And I do that simply because I don't drink coffee and I'm a huge tea drinker. So, for me, it just comes naturally. But if you're not a tea drinker, just start to put that into your diet. Just add the green tea because it's going to boost your metabolism and it's going to, basically reduce inflammation in your gut or in inflammation in your body in general. Um, White tea has a lot more potency than green tea as far as the antioxidant quality, but both are good. Um, and I skipped the apple cider vinegar up there in the fruit category. That is also very very potent as far as reducing belly fat, curbing your appetite, and boosting your metabolism. So we want to definitely include that the apple cider vinegar in your in your daily regimen. Okay. So as we continue, we'll talk about superfoods, carbs, meats, fish, nuts. Um, so basically, there's not a lot of carbs that are considered to be superfoods. All right. Um, so basically, you want to add sweet potatoes to your diet. All right. So the big thing with sweet potatoes, russet potatoes is a close second, but sweet potatoes are much better than your regular white potatoes. Actually, I would recommend not doing the regular white potatoes. You can do Yukon potatoes, russet potatoes, sweet potatoes, because they just have a lot more nutritional value, more fiber, um, and of course your sweet potato is filled with vitamin A. So those will be your better potatoes to go with. Um, and of course, when we make French fries in the restaurants, they're not using any of these better potatoes. They're going with the white potatoes. So when you eat your French fries, you're getting the white potatoes. If you want to make a better, quote unquote, better French fry, you could slice up your sweet potatoes or russet potatoes and bake them. So if you do it that way, you can slice them up the same way that a French fry would be sliced up, and just put it in the oven and bake it. And then you can get a healthier version of a French fry that way. Okay. So as far as carbs, oatmeal is a great carbohydrate because it's got prebiotics in it. And it also is a great gluten free is a great gluten free breakfast option. Okay, so if you're going to do any kind of starch for breakfast, I would highly recommend oatmeal. Or if you're doing bread, I would go with the Ezekiel bread. Then the Ezekiel bread doesn't have the greatest taste in the world, but it's a sprouted grain. And it's a sprouted multigrain. I mean, Ezekiel bread, I don't know if you guys have heard of Ezekiel bread before, but it's basically has multiple grains built in, and you're getting the most amount of nutrients out of it because they actually soak it in water and wait for the grains to start to sprout, and then they use that to ground the flour and create the bread. Um, and if anyone has any questions up to this point, please start to text, put it in the chat box, and then I'll go back and forth and take a look at that, and see if anyone has any questions. But so basically, you wanna your superfood carbs are going to be sweet potato, russet potatoes, brown rice, quinoa, Ezekiel bread, oatmeal, and your pulses. Okay, so pulses are typically, your beans, right? So um, most of the beans will serve as a protein and a carb. Um, so the good thing about pulses is it fills you up. It makes you feel full early. So when you eat them, it makes you feel full early and full for a longer period. And it's also slow in being digested. So you don't feel like in 2 hours you're going to be hungry again. So adding beans to your diet definitely is going to help with satiety and, just feeling full longer. All right. So pulses is a great thing to add into your diet. And of course, the next one we're talking about are meats. So you want your meats to be lean, meaning you want to skin everything, um, and you want to make sure that obviously everything we're talking about, you want to make sure they're organic. If you end up going out to eat, you can't really control that most of the time. So a lot of times what you're eating when you go out is not going to be organic unless it's stated that it is. There are certain restaurants who will have organic foods and they'll tell you about it on the menu. It'll say organic beef or, wild caught salmon or wild caught haddock or something like that. It'll tell you, if it's a beef or pork or fish or something like that. If it is organic or caught in the wild, they will mention it because they know there are people who will be looking for that. So when you go out to eat, you can watch for that and look for those terminology, um, you know, to see what it is that you're eating. So um, the difference between um, farmed fish and wild caught fish. So when you go to the supermarket, you're going to see a little sticker. The little sticker is going to be on the packaged fish, and it's going to say wild caught or it's going to say farmed. The farmed fish are basically fish that are grown in a closed circuit, farm, where they have the fish in the water, and it's just like the way they do the cows and the chickens and all the other livestock that are treated with the GMOs, that are treated with the genetically engineered foods. They keep them in close quarters. They're not roaming around, out in the open waters in the sea. Is farmed, and because they're in close quarters, they tend to have more diseases, because it's not in the wild. And so they typically will get pre-treated with all of the things I mentioned before. The fish will get antibiotics. They will give them steroids. They'll give them, some um, antifungal medications. They'll give them antibiotics. They'll do all kinds of treatment to these fish and seafood so that they don't die off. And then they give them hormones to make them grow faster so they can be able to get them out, and sell them. So this is what you're getting when you get a farmed fish. Okay. When you get a fish that's wild caught, it's fish that's basically out in the ocean, in the sea, in a natural habitat, and the fishermen are going out there to get it. And they're just casting a net and grabbing whatever they grab in the natural environment and then selling them to you. So that's what a wild caught fish would be, something that's just caught in the wild versus something that was in a farmed environment that's been pre-treated with a lot of, chemicals and whatnot. So that's what the difference. That's what the difference is between farmed fish and wild caught. Okay. So the continuing with the superfoods. The next thing you have are nuts. Nuts are a great way to snack when you're creating a healthy lifestyle. So a lot of times people would snack on, things like chips, potato chips, or, Cheetos, or something like that. If you're looking for a healthy snack, nuts are a great way to stay healthy and still get nutrients. So your pecans and walnuts and almonds, Brazil nuts, pistachios, peanuts, cashews, and also like the nut butters are all great ways, to have a little snack and still keep it healthy. All right, because a lot of nuts will have minerals in them. Like the almonds is a great source of manganese, which is a chemical in the body that's really required for a lot of other of the nutrients to be absorbed and work properly. So you want to make sure that you have nuts built into your diet, and you can just have them as a snack. And a good serving of nuts would be about 15 to 18. Say if you were doing almonds, so like 15 to 18 almonds would be a good serving size. And so that's basically it as far as the superfoods. So the next thing is oils and sweeteners and dairy. So what I like to use is coconut oil. I love, 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 love coconut oil. I use it pretty much for every type of cooking that I do. So when I'm making my omelet in the morning, I'm spraying the skillet with coconut oil. if I'm doing anything that requires to put something on the pan so that it doesn't stick, I'm putting coconut oil. I use coconut oil also, on my skin too. I mean, you can use it. It has many different uses. Um, Another option would be virgin olive oil. Some people like to use almond oil. But for me, coconut oil is kind of like my go-to. So you can use that whenever oil is required in your cooking. As far as sweeteners, um, I have not had white sugar in my home going on 3 years now, and it was a big jump. It was really a big jump because I have a very sweet tooth, and so when I made that decision not to have white sugar, refined sugar in my home, I really had to work at it. So it was a gradual thing. And so what I use instead is honey and maple syrup and apple butter. So apple butter, typically I'll put, on my multigrain bread, something like that. Sometimes if I make a protein pancake, I might put some apple butter on it or maple syrup on it. When I drink my cups of tea, I'm putting, or my oatmeal, I'm putting honey. So I really try to avoid any kind of white sugar, refined sugar. And then there's a ton of sugar in jams and jellies and preserves and like the imitation syrup and stuff that, they'll say sugar free, but a lot of these things have fructose and other types of sugars in them. Um, so you really want to watch for that. So as far as sweeteners, and then of course, the things like the sweet and low, the artificial sweeteners, I mean, there's been so many studies that these things with the aspartame, are not healthy. They may even be cancer causing. So I don't do you know, the sugar substitutes either. So it's either honey or maple syrup. That's it. And some people will use agave, um, and to sweeten their foods as well. Another thing you could do if you're looking to sweeten, say you wanted to sweeten your oatmeal, adding some berries into the oatmeal. Sometimes, if you don't really have that sweet tooth where you really need it to be sweet, sweet, um, having a little bit of berries in the oatmeal will be enough sweetness so that you don't even need the honey. And so I do that sometimes where I'll just cook the oatmeal with berries in it, or I'll add the berries on top after I've cooked the oatmeal, and that is enough sweetness that I don't need to add honey or anything else to it. So that's it for the sweeteners. And then for dairy products, um, you know, organic cottage cheese, organic eggs, organic milk, Greek yogurt. These are all good things to have in your diet. And as long as, like I said, they're all coming from good sources. They're all good to have in your diet when you're looking to stay healthy, because these are all great sources of protein. Um, the non-dairy milks are also very, very good. I love to use almond milk when I make my smoothies. I do almond milk. Sometimes I'll do cashew milk. So the cashew milk has a very good source of vitamin E. The almond milk has a great source of calcium. It actually has 50% more calcium than cow's milk. So I do the non-dairy milks when I'm when I'm making my tea, when I'm adding milk to my oatmeal, when I'm adding milk to a smoothie. These are the milks that I typically will use. Um, and a lot of times these don't have sugar either. It's because when you use cow's milk, that has sugar in it naturally has sugar in it. So almond milk doesn't have any sugar, and it has 50% more calcium than the cow's milk. So it's just a better option all the way around. Um, and so, when you're making your smoothie, you add your protein powder, you add your fruit. This particular smoothie here is basically the ID Life, vanilla protein powder, and that typically one scoop is enough. That's all you need. It gives you fiber. It gives you 23 grams of protein, and it's got a bunch of vitamins and all that stuff in there. And you also get chia seeds in there, so you're getting some antioxidants in there as well. You really don't have that many protein shakes out there with chia seeds in it, so that's a really good added benefit. So then I also have kiwi in there. I have a couple of slices of bananas, and then I have avocado. So this smoothie right here is a great superfood smoothie because it's got kiwi, which is giving you a whole bunch of vitamin C, potassium for energy, and then you've got your avocado in there, that is giving you all of your omega-3 acids and antioxidants. You've got your banana, which is giving you your B vitamins and potassium, and then you have your protein powder on the bottom. So you add then the almond milk to it, or you can just add water with crushed ice, or you can add coconut water. You can really do this so many different ways, depending on what you feel like that day. So if you go with almond milk, then you're adding additional calcium. So this one drink, once it's blended and everything, is giving you a ton of nutritional value. You can grab this and go in the morning. If you don't have time to make a full meal, like a full breakfast, this could be a great way to start your day. And it's healthy. So you're not doing like, a McDonald's egg McMuffin or something. You're not doing that. You're taking something that you can replace your breakfast with, and it's also very nutritious. Okay. I put this slide up just to remind everyone about sugars, because sugars is such a big addiction for most people. They don't really see it that way. They just say, oh, I have a sweet tooth. But the thing is, when you have foods that have added sugar in it, it's just wasted calories, right? Because the sugar is already so refined that as soon as you drink it, literally it spikes up your glucose level, it spikes up your insulin level, and when insulin goes up too quickly in your body, it causes cellular damage. So having foods with a lot of sugar in it is actually on a daily basis causing cellular damage to your body. You don't see it because it's a gradual process, but it's good to know about it. Okay, so the picture is showing water over here to the left with 0 sugar. And then you've got like your fruit juices, there's your Dole, there's a Red Bull, and there's your iced tea, and there's your Coke, So Coke, Sprite, all of these things, typically like a 20-ounce bottle of Sprite is going to have 64 grams of sugar in it. Okay, in a 20-ounce bottle of Sprite. That's a lot of sugar. You need 50 grams of added sugar. Well, you don't need, but that's what's recommended. It's recommended that in a day, you have less than 50 grams of added sugar in all of your meals total. So when you have a bottle of 20-ounce Sprite, you're getting 64 grams of sugar in that one bottle, when the recommendation is to have less than 50 grams for the whole day. So, it's really important to just remember that these sugary drinks, the sugar in them is significant. I mean, look at this bag. Would you ever just take this bag of sugar and put it in your mouth? Probably not, right? Looking at the bag of sugar, you would never just chug, this big bag of sugar. But when it's mixed in a drink, you don't see it like this. You don't see the bag. You just have the drink. So you drink it, and the sugar is in there hidden, but you're still consuming it. So I just wanted to put this in there so people remember, that these sugary drinks are really filled with lots of hidden sugars. And we'll talk about ways that we can, limit the hidden sugar, our consumption of the sugars by substituting that with the ID hydrate, which I'll talk about in a little bit. Um, so the next thing we go into just quickly, I want to kind of get through all of this so we can get to the end. These are the potent micronutrients that you need to have in your diet. Okay, so when you get your foods and you're looking at the labels and you're looking to see what's in it, these are the things you want to make sure you're getting. You want to make sure you're getting adequate vitamin A, C, D, your B complex. You want to make sure you're getting biotin and folate. Biotin is great for the hair, skin, and nails. So you want to make sure you're getting that. You want to make sure you're getting adequate amounts of calcium. Majority of the American population is calcium, deficient, just because the foods that we eat, a lot of them are not calcium fortified. We have some cereals and things like that that are calcium fortified, but the problem is the cereal within itself is not the best food to be getting your calcium from. So like I was saying before, almond milk is a great option because it gives you 50% more calcium than your regular milk would. Potassium, we talked about kiwi, we talked about bananas, those will give you good sources of potassium. Plantains will give you potassium as well. We talked about manganese already with the almonds, and the Brazil nuts and stuff like that will give you the manganese. So basically, as you're going through, looking at this list, chromium is a micronutrient that's important in metabolism and weight loss, and the same thing for phosphorus. Phosphorus is involved in so many different activities in the body, revolving around energy. So I don't know if you've heard of the term ATP. ATP is like the energy molecule in your body. That P in there is the phosphorus. So you need to make sure that your foods have adequate amount of phosphorus so that you'll be able to do all of those processes in your body that require energy. A big one is glutathione. So glutathione is a potent antioxidant. So whenever you eat foods that are rich in antioxidants, you're increasing your glutathione. And what you do with that, by doing that, you're making your liver work better. So basically, it helps to to improve liver function. It also helps to prevent cellular damage and remove free radicals from the body. So that's something, whenever you're thinking about the foods you eat, you want to be thinking, is this something that's rich in antioxidants? Antioxidants in general will also reduce your risk of many cancers, across the board. I mean, prostate, breast, a colon. So when you have foods that are rich in antioxidants, it's going to reduce inflammation in your body. It's going to reduce cellular damage and mutations of cells. Because a lot of times when you have cancer, they start with mutations of the cells. So you want to make sure that you're getting, a lot of antioxidants in the foods that you eat. So that's it. Does anyone have any questions up to this point? Any questions at all? I want to give you guys a chance. I know I've been talking for a while. Okay, so I will go ahead. And so the next thing I wanted to discuss was just loving your body. So a lot of people, especially when I was, at my trip in Trinidad, a lot of people were asking me about health and fitness and how do I stay fit? And I really wanted to impart on a lot of the women that, yes, you do have this goal that you want to, lose weight. You want to feel better in your body. But it has to start first with your thoughts, right? It has to start with your thoughts. It has to start with accepting where you are now. So I had a discussion with multiple people, over the past couple of weeks about just the mindset that is required going into a weight loss journey. Um, it's a long journey. It's not something that happens over 4 weeks, 30 days. You see a lot of these challenges, we'll say 30-day fit challenge and this, you know, that's just the beginning, right? So the mindset that's required for having a weight loss journey be successful, at least from everyone that I've seen do this the right way, is accepting where you are now and still being able to enjoy life in your current body, being able to enjoy life in your current body, being able to treat yourself well, get enough sleep, go to the spa and get a massage, get a facial, get treatments that tells you that you're worth it. Doing all of these things, even when you haven't reached that goal yet, kind of sets you up, because you're in that state of self-love. You're in that state of just, improving yourself. And so when you start from there, it allows the transition to be smoother because there's no self-beration. You're not talking down to yourself like, oh gosh, I got to lose 30 pounds before I start dating or before, you're not doing that. You're accepting where you are, and you're tying yourself to people who can help you get to the next level. You're surrounding yourself with people who are doing something similar to what you're doing. You're showing love for your body by eating the right foods and by cooking the right foods and avoiding the things that are going to set you back. And also, when you do have a situation where you fall off track, you're not beating yourself up about it. You're like, you know what? Okay, so today, I was very stressed out. I ate something that wasn't on my meal plan or whatever it is. You accept it for what it is, and then you just the next meal you come back stronger. You make sure that you're on point for the rest of the day or maybe for the rest of the week. Um, and the other thing is, don't deprive yourself of foods that you like. Find alternatives, maybe find a more healthy version of whatever it is that you like. If you're a Starbucks person and you like to have all of these lattes that have a lot of sugar and a lot of cream and all of these things, you can make another version of that, but just use healthier options. Maybe you're using almond milk instead of the regular milk, or you're using things that are going to be less harmful to your body, but still be able to get, a very similar outcome. The other thing about mindset too is knowing that when you keep the end result in mind at the beginning, it helps you along the way because this is for the long haul. This is not a 2 or 3 week thing. So when you keep that in mind, that, when I fall off track a little bit, it's just a little speck in the global picture. It's not the end of me. It's not, the end of the world, and then when you keep it that way, it allows you to be able to move past the little moments that fell off track and not beat yourself up about it. So that's basically, the mindset you have to have going in. And then the next thing about mindset, so this picture I took in Tobago on the top of the highest point on the island, which is Mount Dillon. So we went up there and we were seeing the entire landscape, the coastline, and it was just a very peaceful place to be. You're on it's such a high altitude, and you get to see, your vantage point allows you to see a lot from up there, and that's kind of the mindset I feel is necessary when you're going through, creating a fit lifestyle and going through a fitness journey. Is you really need to kind of step above everything and have a global picture in your head, so that when little things happen, you don't get so, tilted to the point that you completely fall off. And So, that's kind of the mindset that's required, and just enjoying, you know, the body that you've been blessed with. There are a lot of people out here who are amputees. There are a lot of people out here, fighting terminal illnesses, and things like that, that you may not be doing, you may not be dealing with, So if your issue is really just getting your lifestyle changes in order, is really good to put things in perspective. It could be worse, right? I mean, you could have terrible things going on worse than where you are now. So keeping that mindset, and kind of keeping things in perspective, really is helpful. So I wanted to tell you guys about some other um, things that I have to present to you. So the next thing on the list is talking about the company that I alluded to earlier, ID Life. So ID Life is a company that provides nutrition supplements, vitamins, and they have some other line of products as well for skincare and things like that. But the real core products that they provide and that we share, the supplements, the nutritional supplements and the customized vitamins. All right. So the whole idea behind the ID experience, which I'll talk about now, is basically all of the things I've been talking about here, about the ways to improve your lifestyle. So getting enough sleep, staying hydrated, reducing stress, having a good support system, making sure your meals are organic, clean. So all of those things that we talked about up in the beginning of the webinar, your ID experience pretty much gives you all of that. Okay, so in the ID experience, basically you get your customized vitamins, um, you get your protein shakes, which are 100%, gluten-free, soy-free, non-GMO. There are no antibiotics. There's no steroids. It's completely clean. Okay, so you get your shake in there. You get hydrate, which is basically what you can use to substitute for sugary drinks, as I talked about before. When you have a lot of these sugary drinks, it basically is boosting it's hiking up your insulin level. To replace that, you can replace that with the hydrate. I typically like to do the hydrate in the middle of the day. Around lunchtime, you can have it as your drink that you're eating your lunch with. Um, and then you have in the middle of the day as well, most people will have a slump where they'll start to lose energy. And so you have several energy options. You can go with an energy shot drink here, which will give you that boost to kind of get through the rest of your day. You can go with an energy drink, or you can go with an energy chew. All of those are all meant to keep you alert mentally, and get you that extra boost of energy to get you through your work day. Um, and then, as I said here, we also have the sleep aids. So tons of Americans on a daily basis are using medications to fall asleep. They're using Ambien. They're using several prescription drugs to fall asleep. This is a natural way to help you stay asleep longer and actually have great quality sleep, so that you wake up refreshed and you don't wake up still groggy. The sleep aids have melatonin in them, and it basically gets you more REM sleep, so that you get really good deep sleep and wake up refreshed. So I took this picture actually this week. This is my counter in my kitchen. So this is what it looks like for me, and this is what I use. These are all the products I use. You also, I didn't mention this here. This is a lean, the ID Life Lean, which is basically what you can use for a natural metabolism boost and to curb your appetite. So you've got your protein shakes, you've got your energy drinks, you've got your hydrate. and you have your sleep aid, and then of course on top of that is the customized vitamins. So I want to show you guys. I'm going to go here actually to my website, which is drdiefitlife.com, and I hope you can still see this. Basically, when you go on there, you're going to see um, the ID nutrition health assessment. So the health assessment is basically a questionnaire that you go through, and they give you different questions, and you answer the questions um, as honestly as you can. And when you're done answering the questions, um, you are going to get a report, and that report is going to um, the report is going to tell you about what you've mentioned in the questions, that they've asked you. Is going to give you a report about what they feel are recommended for you to get started on as far as vitamins and nutrients. So it's going to give you recommendations, and then it creates the customized vitamins that you need, to take every day. Um, so basically, what you get here is you're going to go through the survey, not a survey, but you're going to answer all of the questions, and then you'll get your report. You can bring this report back to your primary provider and show them what the recommendations were, and then you guys can devise a plan for you. So this is on my website. If you go on, we're actually going to go ahead and put it in the chat. We'll put the link in the chat so that you guys will be able to have direct access to it. And when you go on there, you'll also see some of the products, the ID Life products there as well, that you can take a look at. And it tells you here in this right upper corner, the ID nutrition benefits. So you can use the ID Life nutrition for weight management, increased energy, to boost your immune system, boost your metabolism, improve your joint health, and improve your mental clarity. So how you do all of this, and I'll tell you. For me, my health assessment, when I did it, it basically gave me a report and told me what I should be on. So I was vitamin D deficient. I already knew that coming into the health assessment. So I mentioned all of that in the assessment. So what I got as my customized vitamins that I take every day, I have a morning pack that has a morning, basic mixture of multivitamins in there, but it also has my probiotic. It has antioxidants capsule of spirulina. So I have that in the morning. In the evening, I have my vitamin D. I have my omega-3 acids capsule supplement in there. And so I have my vitamin D supplement in there as well. And you've got your probiotic. And so basically it gives you everything that you need to make sure that you're balancing your nutrition with your meals and, everything you're eating with the supplements that you're taking, the vitamins that you're taking, so that you're having a complete package in the end with the foods that you're making, in addition to the supplements that you're taking. Also, in addition to the protein shakes that you're taking, so that you have a complete system. All right. So that's basically what you get when you do the ID nutrition plan. You're getting your vitamins, you're getting your protein shakes, and you're also incorporating that with you're incorporating that with your meal plan. Okay. So I see that the free health assessment is there in the link. You can take a look at that. And the last thing, the couple of last things I wanted to talk about is I have a program going on right now that is also on my website. and it's a 4-week program that basically allows you to your nutrition plan. Okay, so we have two programs. We have the Dr. Di Fit and Fabulous Nutrition Package, as you can see on the left. Um, the nutrition package basically will give you, after you have a 20-minute consultation with me. We'll start with a 20-minute consultation, and basically the consultation will be to figure out what your nutritional needs are. Um, and so we'll go over that and figure out what it is that you're missing in your nutrition plan right now, what it is that you need to be able to succeed moving forward. Because the whole plan of the whole point of this is to teach you so you can do this on your own moving forward for the rest of your life. So it's not for you to be in, be under um, um, my direction forever. It's to teach you how to do this so you can be able to do it on your own. And so basically the first one to the left is your standard nutrition package. And then the one to the right is the premier nutrition package. So I'm looking to make sure that you guys can see the nutrition package. I don't know if you can see it or not. And it's on the website. So if you cannot see it right now, if you go to drdifitlife.com/programs, it'll be under there. So, but I'll just tell you what it entails. So the Dr. Di Fit and Fabulous Nutrition Package comes with a full grocery list, and the grocery list will have all of the superfoods that we've talked about today, incorporating it into a full 1-week plan. So you can have all of your foods for the entire week. You're going to have a paleo meal plan and a ketogenic meal plan. So the ketogenic meal plan has no carbs in it. So if we decide that based on who you are, that you need to be on a ketogenic meal plan for 2 to 4 weeks, then that's the meal plan we'll follow. And it has very little to no carbs in it at all. It's all protein, good fats, and lots of hydration. So, that's one of the 2 meal plans within the package. So depending on what you need is what we'll go with. You get a nutritional guide. You get an exercise glossary with exercises on it with instructions how to do the exercises. And you get 2 check-ins with me over the 4-week period. I'll check in with you on week 2, and I'll check in with you on week 4. You also obviously will be able to do the health assessment before we start all of this. So that is the nutrition package, the standard. And then the premier nutrition package, that has all of what I listed already. And in addition to that, you will get a check-in with me weeks 1, 2, 3, and 4. So instead of 2 check-ins, you will have 4 check-ins, and you'll also have an instructional video to get you through um, the exercises. So you will have a fit test that you do every Monday. And those fit tests will see the progression over the 4 weeks, how your stamina is building up. You'll have a fit test instructional video that goes with it. So you should actually be able to see the link in the chat for the nutrition packages. And so you'll be able to get those additional things in the premier package. Okay. And then of course the last thing that I wanted to notify you guys about is my upcoming boot camp. So we are going to have a live boot camp, and it's going to be the first one I'm hosting actually for the year, and it's going to be on April 1st. If you've signed up for this webinar today, you're going to be on the email listserv. So once the official announcement comes out for the live boot camp, I'll have flyers, I'll have registration information and all of that coming out. But I just wanted to let you know now that on April 1st at 8 a.m. at Lake Elkhorn in Columbia, Maryland, we're going to be doing our first boot camp. I'll try to see if I can get 2 or 3 boot camps in April done. Just so that we have regular engagement. So I'll throw at least 2 or 3 boot camps in April, and then we'll continue to have the boot camps in May, in June, going into the summer. And basically, what you can expect from the boot camps is you're going to have multiple boot camps. So the first one would be a full body boot camp where we're literally going to be working the entire body. And some of the subsequent boot camps are going to be just about the core, because a lot of women, have their biggest issue is really tightening the core. So I'm going to have some core, and a lot of men as well. So I'm going to have some boot camps that are totally focused on the core and the nutrition you need to have to get your core tighter and to be leaner. So after each boot camp, I'll have some of the ID Life products there to sample. You guys can sample it, and I'll have also, additional freebies there for people for like the first 20 or 30 people to sign up. So just watch out for those emails as they come out so you can sign up as early as possible so you can get the freebies that will be available on site when you show up for the boot camp. Okay, and at the end of each of the boot camps, we will have a post-workout nutrition and supplement discussion. So if people have questions and they have questions about nutrition, if they have questions about supplements they should be taking, we'll have a little discussion at the end of each boot camp session to answer those questions. Okay, so that is it, and that's all I have today.